Well, hello, Bruce Lund, WeBeToys. We designed toys for 40 years, perhaps, as well as games, cat toys, and other things. One of our big successes early on was Vac-Man. Vac-Man used a technology called vacuumatics. It really hadn't been used in the toy business before, and it was a way to make a character that would go from floppy to rigid and smooth skin to bumpy skin because the air would be sucked out of the character over the material inside. We used a lot of different materials inside, sand, which would cut the latex, so that wasn't satisfactory. We used plastic bits, way too expensive, until finally the company, Captoy, decided to use something cheaper than dirt, which is ground up corn cobs. And they came from Ohio, so Ohio on down to Colorado, lots and lots of corn. So they had a machine that they used up there in Cleveland, and they would fill these things, and the skins are actually made in Akron, which is sort of the center of the rubber business. So Vac-Man, very, very successful, but at the time, relatively expensive. In 1999, and this was probably in the late 80s, they wanted to do something less expensive, and so we did the Vac-Pack. The Vac-Pack are several characters. They're Vac-Man's allies. There's a red one, a green one, and a yellow one. They're Vac-Man's allies. Much smaller, much less expensive, of course, and lots of fun. Here's a Vac-Man pump used with the original Vac-Man. Now, Vac-Man was so successful, it led to many other products over the years, some of which I can show today, some of which I can't. A Vac-Man sold for off and on 35 years or more. This is one that Hasbro did. Hasbro actually bought Captoy many years ago, and we continued to talk to them about the vacuumatic technology, and they finally decided to make one in a Spider-Man movie. This was Sandman. It has the skin in the body here, in the torso anyway, which allows you then to stretch out the torso and see the change in texture. And then when you push the button, it will just go back. I don't actually play with these toys a lot myself. Then the air will go back in and it will look normal and squashy again. And then, years later, Character Options in England decided they'd had good success with Stretch Armstrong, and this was Stretch Armstrong's arch enemy, Vac-Man, and so they brought out Vac-Man also. So they made their own sculpture and everything, but essentially it's the same product. The large Vac-Man. I don't have the smaller one, but they had another smaller one, looked exactly the same. So this was with Character Options, and that was only just a few years ago that they licensed this. But we wanted to make something which would make a small Vac-Man, and this mechanism came in from another designer, and they created the Vactory, which allowed us to take 4 or 5 inch latex Vac-Man skins and fill them with the corn cob, of course, and then pop a head on and suck the air out. So this is the Vactory, the end of the Vac-Man line with Captoys. Now, after Captoys, there were other people interested in the Vactory, the vacuum technology, and we'll show you those products that use the vacuumatic technology. This was Manly Toy, California-based small toy company, centered in Hong Kong, with offices in LA. And they were going to make a line of characters like Vac-Man, but they would scream when you stretch them. So hence they were called Stretch Screamers, and they would have the vacuum in the chest anyway, and be able to stretch them. This is probably an example of one. And later on, they made Morph Man, which is a similar character. And here, the head would just completely suck down as if there was nothing in the head. And then the body would stretch like a Vac-Man. By the way, did I mention my book that I wrote, my first book? And the bestseller of all the books, even though I only wrote one book, although more are coming. This is Bruce's Beliefs. Everything I know about business and life, I learned playing with toys. Well worth reading if you get a chance. So later on, we had Moose Toys. We visited Moose Toys, and we had a really nice visit in Australia with them. And they were interested in the vacuumatic technology and a big line of small characters like this. And in some of the characters, not all of them, they would do the air vac character. This is Air Vac Thrash. Much smaller and less expensive. The pump was actually built into the body, so you would pump the head up and down. Lovely toy. Sold some. And that was probably the end of the Vac line, although over 35 years or so, it sold to many companies in many embodiments. Very, very successful product, and millions sold. Vac-Man.